Good morning and welcome to the third annual State of the Science meeting being conducted by the Southeastern Coastal Center for Agricultural Health and Safety. My name is Tracy Irani and I'm going to introduce our first speaker in a moment. But before we get started, I would like to ask that we observe a moment of silence on this 19th anniversary of 9/11. Thank you. At this moment, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Scott Engel, who is the University of Florida's new Vice President for Agriculture and Natural Resources and the leader of UF's Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences, or UF-IFAS. Dr. Engel has had a long career as a university administrator in the nonprofit sector, and most recently with our federal government, where he served as director of the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture. Dr. Engel is here to kick off the State of the Science meeting with a welcome and a few introductory remarks. Welcome, Dr. Engel, and thank you for your participation.
Well, thank you, Tracy. It's my honor to be with you, and I'm looking forward to spending some time with you and getting to know more about what you all do. I'm relatively new in my job. I have only been here 8 weeks, and so while I know departments of entomology and plant pathology well, your center is a little different from what I'm familiar with, and so again, I'm very much looking forward to learning more about what you do and the impact that you have around the country. I want to begin by thanking you for all that all of you do on the Zoom call today. I don't think there's probably been any time more important for your work than it is right now. And this has obviously been highlighted by COVID and the issues that has raised for many of our workers in our agricultural system. But I also think that brings along many opportunities. And I'll probably talk about one as we get towards the end of my relatively brief presentation. So I'm still learning more about what you do. I'm aware of the center being located in Kentucky in the past and the good work that had done for the region and how the Southeastern Center has developed, or the Coastal Center, excuse me, has developed because some of the coastal issues are just a little bit different from other areas of the country. And so I found it to be a fascinating process and how it's organized, how it's funded, and the type of work that you all do. I continue to ask how I can help all of you with your work. I believe that given my connections in Washington, D.C., and also what we can do here at IFAS in Florida, that if there are any things that I can do to make you and the center more successful and collectively around the country, please just let me know. I certainly want to be your advocate because what you do is so critically important. I am familiar with information delivery. I've worked in extension for a long, long time, and probably the most impactful focus I've had with information delivery was in something that I was doing a couple of years ago, where I was running a nonprofit in Africa. We were helping smallholder farmers, literally the poorest farmers of the world, who had many, many, many challenges, grow more food. And one of the things we saw that when a farmer could double, triple, quadruple their yields, which was very easy to do with minimal input. That went from having enough food just for your family to now you had something to sell. You went to the market and you made a little bit of money so you could send a child to school, or you could buy some health care for your children, or maybe even buy better food. In many of these countries, children were stunted as a result of micronutrient and protein deficiencies. So the delivery of information is absolutely critical in Africa. In some very poor countries, it's the first step out of poverty. For what we do, it's different, but it is probably more important now than ever to for you to be successful. And that's why I began with my offer to do everything I can, either nationally or even internationally, because I know some of you work at that level. This is a team that has been put together here in this region. We work with, here at the University of Florida, both public health and the law school, and we have an emerging pathogens institute. We also have another number of other university partners. Florida A&M would be one of the main ones that we work with, but Florida State, University of South Florida, Emory University, and the University of the Virgin Islands. So it does take a team to do the types of things that all of you have been charged to do. And it very much to me represents the land grant model. While a lot of our partners, whether they're internal or external, are not land granters, the concept is still the same. It's that we collectively work together to bring resources to bear on problems that extend beyond just the state borders. And this is something I saw quite a bit. As you heard, I was the director of NIFA, the National Institute of Food and Agriculture in Washington, D.C. for a while. We supported work in this particular area as well, but we learned at that time that can only be done through partnerships. Now, NIFA did provide funding for extension, about $500 million. Our total budget was around $2 billion, but we were the primary federal funder of work through extension. But that helped me understand how extension and working together, not just extension, but how we all work together as a national system really is the best way to deliver some information. We all don't have all the answers. We all don't understand what all the problems are. We are all not located in the same region. And so it's important that we come together like this pretty regularly to share information and share best practices. The center is, to me, something that is critically important because, as I said, the safety of those who are in the food production system. So all the way from those working in the field to some of the processing to even to the retail side. This is probably, it's probably been I would say it's been somewhat a hidden issue for a long time. In my opinion, we've always treated, now here I'm focusing mainly on those workers on the line and in the field, we've almost treated them as machines, that they were to be thought of as part of a linear system for food delivery. So when it broke, you fixed the machine, or if it was running slow, you oiled the machine. We really didn't think about these as these people who were working in the field and working on our lines as individuals who had the same issues that all of us face that are not working in the field or on a processing line. And so I think that COVID in many ways has brought somewhat of a hidden group, a population that's been hidden from a lot of us for a long time, to the forefront. And now we're thinking much more broadly about their safety and about their health and how we can be a part of assuring that. We saw what happened in the food processing lines when individuals came down with COVID, and that disrupted not just individuals' lives and their families, but the entire food chain in a number of areas right now. And that's exactly the sweet spot for what the Southeastern Coastal Center and all the centers are involved in. It's helping assure that those individuals who are part of our food production system that have been hidden in the past get lifted up to become more visible, to celebrate it, and ultimately to make sure that we are keeping everyone safe and healthy. They were designated as essential workers, obviously, and I thought that was an excellent thing for a number of reasons. The main one was that it helped us look at these individuals in a way that was very different from most of the public. Now, a lot of you in the centers have always focused on the work that they do and how to keep our workers safe and healthy, but let's face it, most of the public does not even know they exist. And so while COVID has devastated our country in many, many ways, I think this will ultimately be one of the bright spots, that it's helped raise up and lift up individuals who have been hidden for a long time. I just want to give a quick shout out to someone I've met here recently. This is Sebastian Galindo. I hope I get your last name right, Galindo. He works on impact evaluation. We've met a couple times now, and I'm a real fan of impact evaluation because it's absolutely critical that you be able to know where you are in the process of delivering information, what difference are you making along that way, and then ultimately to develop reports to show the impact on society. And so I'm really pleased to see that Sebastian is part of, for the Coastal Center, part of the project from day one, that he is helping to develop all these plans and ultimately will help to tell that story. He's working, he'll have some information to share with you here relatively soon. But as I talk to groups around the country, and particularly here in Florida, I love it when I see impact evaluators as part of this process, because it's something that, frankly, most centers around the country that have been newly established, most research projects, they leave off. And so the fact that you have impact evaluation from day one is really exciting to see. And kudos to all of you for thinking about how to make sure that you can tell your story. The last thing I want to mention is just something going on in Washington, D.C. I don't know what's going to happen with this, but there are several bills before Congress right now to help us prevent the next COVID, to deal with the aftermath of what we are going through right now, and to better prepare us when it does happen, if, and I think probably when it does happen in the future. It's $20 billion that we're talking about right now. It's a very sizable amount of money. This is for the USDA to help with a lot of the things that we do. We don't know how this money will be spent or how it will be used. It's not clear in the bills that are floating before Congress right now. It'll probably be up to the Secretary to make that final decision, but just know that we will be working to assure that some of that money can be, hopefully be utilized to help do exactly what you're doing. That's keep our workers in the food industry healthy and safe. So thank you for all that you do. Again, it's very hard to think of something more important being done right now in agriculture, and I'm grateful that we have you doing what you're doing now. The time is now for your work.